in national service, I went to Moi University. It was the first entrance of Moi University because the first group that went there were from Nairobi University. There were about 57 of them that had been taken from Nairobi University at the inception of Moi University. And then we came in, we are a group of about 600, and when we joined Moi University in 1987. We were lucky because this was a staple university sited in the location that it is, and we were not infiltrated in a way that we were able to continue with our programs, completed our university programs in the 3 years that was stipulated. So in 1990, I graduated in Moi University, from Moi University, and this was my aspiration. All along as I traveled along this road, I could see the plantation, the tea plantations, and the people who were working there. And I had an aspiration, and this is when I noted actually, this is God answers what you have in your heart and confess to it. And we did pray for it, and the only interview that I did was at the tea plantation, and where I was employed and as a junior assistant manager. As a junior assistant manager, I rose through the ranks in the Brookbond until it changed the name to Unilever and eventually Lipton. Finally, this time, I guess it's now called Lipton Brown. And it's an establishment that built our character. It built our resilience, as I said before. It built also the moral values that would be required that was instilled in us. I can tell you, this is an area that, because this will be the first time if this committee, this honorable committee, honorable chair, if they will approve me, then this will be the first time I'll be working in public establishment. Of course, after I'd worked with the Nagada. So I started my career in Unilever and rose through the ranks from the junior assistant manager, worked in Cheruiyot, about 4 estates, field plantations, worked also in the factories. I got an exposure to work in HR and training departments, and it enabled me to be considered for further promotion when I was transferred to work in Tanzania, where I was in Tanzania for 4 years, and I was in charge of the plantation in Tanzania, which constitute about 30% of the tea industry in Tanzania. I was responsible for the marketing aspect. I was responsible for the manufacturing as well as the general logistics. At this point, I would like to say that around 1994 is when I got married. I was 30 years old, and now I'm 60 years, and we were celebrating our anniversary with my beautiful wife last year, 2024. We have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son who are grown up. We are proud of them, and we are happy that God has brought us that far. So that is insofar as our Unilever Kenya is concerned. During my growth, I was posted to work in Central Province, a very hostile environment. But this is something that I discovered, that I'm able to interact, I'm able to bond, I'm able to create rapport with the people anywhere. And that is how I came to survive in Central Province and worked in Limuru for 5 years as a general manager for Unilever. At that point, I was actually one of the best managers in that plantation, and I was now considered to work with Unilever globally. That's when Unilever was working to double the business, to increase the business or double the business by the build in the procurement areas. And I was one of them. I was the first one to be appointed into Grow Africa strategy for Unilever. We were tasked with the responsibility of acquisition of more lands, expansion of more lands within Kenya, within Tanzania, and Rwanda. We're working with the World Banks, we're working with IDH in Netherlands, we're working with the governments of the regions that we were operating in Tanzania and Rwanda, and I can say it was a successful endeavor. During that time, I also did decide, having had exposures in these countries, the people I was also working with are called the Wood Foundation Africa in partnership with Unilever. The Wood Foundation Africa, a Scottish established entity that was also coming in tea. Their responsibility in Rwanda was to turn around the business. After the genocide of 1994, the tea business in Rwanda went down. And the government of Rwanda was now coming in to see how best they can turn around, bring it back into production, and benefits the local. So they were looking for the established people, the people who can run the business in Rwanda. And I was lucky because I had engagement with them, and they took me there to work as their CEO in Rwanda, running the business in Rwanda for Sir Ian Wood, who was the owner of the business in Scotland. They had invested about $13 million in that business just to turn it around. And what they expected is, how can we make it profitable? How can we make it viable? How can we make it a project that benefits the farmers who are in the cooperatives there? How can we build the capacities of Rwandese to be able to run the business in 7 years? How can we create that to a level where the investment, the $13 million that they had invested, are repaid? And I'm glad to say I worked for that 7 years in Rwanda and achieved the targets that were given to me. At the end of it, the process was the key KPIs, the key performance indicators that had been set was be able to repay, be able to build the capacity of Rwandanization process. And we did that. And at the end of that 7 years, on the assessment of the Rwandan government, we managed to hand over the project to the locals and to the local cooperatives. And I'm very proud of that. So I left Rwanda in the year 2021, at the end of 2021, and I came back home. I was lucky, soon after that I was appointed as a board member of Nagada in Kenya. And I was there for, completed my term 3 years before the new government came in, and they were looking at it in a different dimension, and they brought in new people into it. So that's when I left Nagada. But before then, I was looking at it, and I think I brought the team of Nagada board here in Kericho, because we wanted to see how we can establish rehabilitation programs that we had seen elsewhere in the country. Then that what is missing here. I brought them here. We went to Bomet, but we eventually settled in Litain Mission Hospital that was starting a small program of rehabilitation or treatment, mental treatment programs. So that's my life has been. When I came back, I was home, of course, but I started looking around and said, okay, what can I be doing at home? And I was looking at the farming, looking at the businesses, and I also thought, if I have lived in this village, if I have lived in this locality, what can I bring in as a CSR, as having worked elsewhere? And what I did was, I started, the first day I went to Chelilis, which is a new society, to deliver my milk. We speaking with the chairman and the committee for the admission. They saw something and said, okay, we're having a program. Can you join us in the leadership? And when I joined them the first day, I was elected as a chair. Interesting. And what happened? We did, the first task that I was given was to organize Chelili's expo. Mobilization of funds that we required was done by us. Through the initiative and the innovation, we spoke to the exhibitors, and they did contribute to what we used to arrange that program. I think we raised about 980,000, which was enough to run it. Our Excellency Governor was the chief guest during the opening of that expo. But in the process, I discovered during that day that we didn't have any programs in Kishara ward. I remember the governor came around, and there was donation of cement facilities. There was donation of containers, and when they were being issued, societies were called, and I realized that there was none in Kishara. And that's when we came back now with a team of people who had gone there and said, okay, we're going to start a program here. So a small team sat down and we started a program. We enlisted our leaders in the ward, and that ward now is, that society, Kishara Dairies, is up and running. I'm very proud of it. I'm looking forward to seeing a day when it will be a very big institution that will support the development of the people in Kishara ward. I'm very proud of that. We shall, so that's insofar as...
Thank you very much, John. I think you've exhausted your introduction. Maybe that unless you think there is something that you've forgotten, then I can give you a window of 2 minutes. You complete your introduction, then we move on.
Yep.
If you're finished,
thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think perhaps when you look at my CV, you look at the skills that have been developed. In a development, of course, what is it in relation to the topics that I'm gonna sit in? And I'm happy because this has been involving huge members of the society. And this is the topic that we are gonna work on. So I don't think I have any further to say.
Thank you very much. Now, before I open the floor for the honorable members to continue with the questions they are supposed to pose to you, maybe for something, maybe the honorable members, I'll be taking the issues of the work experiences you go through your vetting tool. Number one, think you've been provided with the writing material. But for this case, it will be a direct question and answer session. Now that you've introduced yourself extensively, can you kindly relate now from what we've seen in your CV, all areas that you've worked in, the companies you've worked for? Can you kindly relate the work experience now in all those sectors with the sector that you've been appointed to? You know, you've been appointed to the Department of Trade, Industrialization and Tourism. Now, the aspect of industrialization, the aspect of tourism, the aspect of trade, can you relate that wide experience that you've gained, maybe from the industries you've worked for, to the Department of Trade, Industrialization and Tourism? That's number one. Number two, in your CV, we are aware the other time you did appear in this house when you were vetted for the position of. We know you've been serving as the chair for Kabianga Tea Farm, and I believe you are serving to date. But back in your CV, when we try to go through your CV, we've not seen anything to do with Kabianga Tea Farm. I don't know whether that you don't appreciate the fact that you are the chairman, because we are not seeing it anywhere. In your CV, we've not seen any roles that you've been playing as a chair, yet you've been a worker of the county government of Kericho in that sector of Kabianga Tea Farm. We are not seeing it anywhere, not unless we are not aware, not unless you resigned. But even if you resigned, you ought to have seen that you've worked for this county government of Kericho in that sector. So the first one, start with the one for relating your work experience to the docket of trade, industrialization, and tourism. Welcome. You can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, members. As you can see, the dockets that have been nominated to is dealing with communities. It's dealing in business. It's dealing in empowerment, looking at possibilities of empowering the communities for creation of wealth, to create wealth, to create employment, to create opportunities, and also to bring in revenue. So when you look at, Honorable Chair, my role in Rwanda, we were dealing with about 8,000 farmers, and what we wanted was to turn around their business, make sure that they work on projects that will make them happy, that will make them more active, that will make them more productive. So when you relate to what we are doing here in trade, it's about the business community. It's about the people in the markets. It's about providing environments, a conducive environment for performance. So if given a chance, I think the first thing is to ensure that we can work on an appropriate budget to be able to deliver those mandates. Two, we shall be able to communicate and create awareness of the roles that these people in the markets are doing, to be able to be happy and be productive to the county. So I will sit with the teams that are involved and also look at the strategic plans that they have. What kind of environment are we going to create so that these markets perform smoothly, so that we can have an harmonious market, sanitaries, create an opportunity for people to be happy. Perhaps fresh feeding centers. We did that one through the USAID in our programs. So I guess I have that skills to work and create interactions with the market through their market committees. So that's it. On the issue of Kabianga, if you look at the CV, I think I had updated this CV in 2022. At that moment, I was actually, the last one that I did was when I applied a role as a CEO for water. So I updated it. When this nomination came, they were very quick and asked me, so I went back to what I had. Otherwise, the CV is not yet updated to the levels that I am now.
Who should update your CV?
Pardon?
Who should update your CV?
That's an oversight. I didn't do it, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. So you accept now. Before I open, I still open the floor. Now, maybe this is a direct question that will need a yes or no. Number one, having worked in all these sectors that you've worked for, have you ever been given any honor or award for doing exemplary good, maybe in all these sectors that you've done, because you've said you've rose through the ranks, you've worked for various tea companies in different capacities. Now, have you ever been honored or given an award for doing an exemplary good work?
No.
No.
But
thank you. Are you a member of any professional body?
No.
No. Have you ever been dismissed or otherwise removed from office for contravention of the provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution?
No.
Have you ever been adversely associated with practices that depict biasness, favoritism, and nepotism in the discharge of public duties? In terms of pro bono or charity works, can you state, though you had mentioned the issues of Kishara dairies and the likes, but we didn't capture very well whether it was you were doing it on pro bono or you were elected by the people maybe to serve in those capacities. Were you doing it on pro bono or charity basis?
It's on pro bono, given that, so I can say a few. And since the time I was in Moi University, when I joined Moi University Rotaractors, and in Kigali, I was a member of cancer checkup or something. So yes. I'm trying to bring that one because what we did in Kigali and what we were also establishing in Nairobi was establishing some kind of a dormitory where if a person travels long, and we know a number of people may not afford to come back and forth.
For Cheruiyot, Honorable David Maritim.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The nominee, it has been a common practice in our county that our small traders sell their wares along the highway, all the way from Londiane towards the side soap already. And it's a very dangerous zone. I hope you remember what happened in Londiane. And the county government has a culture of saying, we are relocating these business people, and they haven't done so. What measures, if approved, what measures will you take to take these people to a safer place to do their business? Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. I think those 3 rounds of questions, we can give the nominee maybe to answer the same before we take another round of questions. I think, Mr. Cheruiyot, you are ready for it. Kindly answer the same questions.
Honorable B. And this is about tourism. And what we're saying is that the tourism is under this docket. And we've quite a number of tourism areas. And some of them, for example, Chepululu, which had, I guess, they had an issue with the land, the ownership of the land. Although there have been investment in it, there's need for it to identify and make the land ownership clear for it to move forward. So if given a chance, I guess this is an area where I'll put in money, where area that I'll put in efforts to work with the people concerned to ensure that if this is an area where we see a value in it in tourists, then we will put an effort to have the land owned by the county, or better still, have a sustainable memorandum of understanding with the owners of the land. In most of these tourist areas, or areas that have been considered to be tourist area, Botenan has a relation with the national government. How much can we partner with them, perhaps through the tourist regulatory authority? How much can we work with them so that it also benefits the county? So that's something that I will look into. The Bakau, the Reresik area, I think it's working with the community, creating a relation with the communities around that area to facilitate the ownership or the county to run it. So the Bakau, of course, I look at the report about Bakau, the report about Reresik, the report about Chebulu areas, and historical sites like Tulwap, Kipsigis in Londiani are also areas that we will look at it and say, okay, what is the opportunity there? So we'll put in money, we'll do the research, and then one of the things that needs, the first thing to do is to make it accessible. Create access to those areas. Create awareness also. If we must use our local community, we create awareness to those people so that we can also have those people coming in. Botenan is a Misham, and I think we'll work with the Department of Culture under the Ministry of Education to enhance it as a tourist destination in the county. About my ability and capacity, I think at this level of this appointment, it's about policy making. It's about making procedures, Honorable Chair, that will enable this to be activated, or any business to be activated, be it an industry, be it the running of coffee. So we look at the policies that are there and enhance it so that, because this is an office that will be involved in the policy making. I have the capacity to work with people. Working with people, achieving results through people is one of the key elements, that skills that I have, and I'll use that to achieve the results in other areas of this department, coffee areas and industrialization. When I looked at the little information that I have now about the department is the Department of Trade. And what it does is that there is trade, industrialization, and innovation. And then there is tourism and wildlife. When I look at the budget, so far, the budget is not provided for industrialization because it is partly shared by the national government. And where we come in is through the economic stimulus and what is the intervention funds that comes from the national. So that will use it properly to ensure that that budget is created. And where we need a budget, I'll bring to the committee of the House in charge of trade. About the wildlife, Honorable Cheruiyot, you brought to, of course I had noted it, that the CV had not been updated because of, and I had mentioned it before. It may point to the seriousness, but I think I've updated it. I did not share with the committee because I did it late. So Kipngeno is I hold it very close to me. It has, when you look at the performance of Kipngeno, it's a worry, and it has to do better than that. What I did when I came around is we did the soil analysis, look at the soil analysis of Kipngeno tea farm. And then from there, we identified the kind of nutrients that we require to improve it. Right now, it is not able to produce quality tea that can go to a KTDA factory because of the level of the nutrients that have been there before. So right, as we speak now, 40%, because we said we are going to start with the pruning circles, work on pruning circles of the farm, and build it from the first year of pruning up to the last year. By that time now, we shall have put in adequate fertilizer to give us the quality and the volumes that we want. So the 40%, the 40 hectares that we have identified now are at the moment going to the KTDA factories. And we have started it well. We have set in a target of about 400 kilograms of green leaf annually to a KTDA factory. And when we look at that, we were looking at a possibility of bringing in an earning to Kipngeno tea farm of up to about 10 million in that 40 hectares. And then from there, we shall move in through the circles of pruning, so that in the end, we shall have gone 100% of the farm, because it was already running out of the nutrients. We've looked at the possibility of perhaps replanting it, but we look at the capital required would not be sustainable at the moment of its performance. So perhaps that's something that we'll be looking at it in the future. Yep. I will share the updated CV in a moment, honorable members and chair. Wildlife. We'll identify what kind of wildlife we have in the county at the moment. I know most of it is mostly birds, and some of it are in the national government areas. So what I'm saying is that we shall identify them and see how to manage them. If for purposes of birds and other animals, we will develop a policy that will enable us to create habitats for these animals to live in. And then, of course, in the process, integrate it into a tourism process. I'm not sure whether I've left anything from the questions I asked.
Maybe you've left something. They said failing to update your CV. That was the one from Honorable Cheruiyot. But
I've said I will share it.
You said you will share it?
Yes.
But failing?
Of course, I can say that's an oversight. I should have done that, because when I was asked to provide the CV, I just did what I had in my, because it was, the notice that was given to me was a bit short. So I guess it's something that will not pass any aspersion on my performance at this point in time.
Thank you. Allow me to take another round of questions. Question of traders from Honorable Maritime, that traders are selling their...
True. I think what the traders need is an engagement. The traders along the highway requires an engagement. Why do we require them out of the way? Why do we want them to stay away from the highways? Because of safety. So we'll spend a lot of time working with them, engaging them, and giving them the reason why it is good for them to work away from the roads. I know some of the areas like Londiani Junction, they may not have land to establish it. But we think that maybe going forward, through the House Committee on Trade, we can discuss and see how we can acquire a piece of land for these people to move in, where access will be provided to that land, water can also be provided, and sanitary facilities will be provided to persuade the people to move in there.
Thank you. Who is the chairman for Trade, House Committee on Trade?
The chairman on Trade is Richard Langat at the moment.
Thank you. Can we move with the second round of questions? Yes, I will start with Honorable Francis Terrer. I think he is ready.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Before I asked a question, Chairman, let me declare my interest, the conflict of interest, because Mr. John Cheruiyot is a friend of mine. I know him for a long time, so I want to declare that. But that conflict of interest will not affect the process of the day. So my question is, Mr. Chairman, the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza.
So, Honorable Francis Terrer, you say he is your friend. Are you declaring maybe you step aside from this, or you say it's not affecting?
I will not be stepping aside, but I want to say that the process of vetting him will not affect our friendship.
The outcome of this.
The outcome of this exercise. So my question, Chairman, to the nominee is that the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza is bottom-up economic model, and in Cheruiyot County, the business community at the bottom of this model is Mamboga and border operators. If given a chance, what plans do you have to ensure that this community of Mamboga and border operators will have a conducive environment so that they can do their business without a lot of challenges?
Thank you, Honorable Siele.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. To our nominee, it's good you have talked of Abianga Tea Farm. Abianga Tea Farm has been a problem to our county for quite some time. Somebody like you who has worked with the government of Rwanda, where they are selling their tea globally at the highest price. We could have expected something reasonable that you declare after every year from such an experienced person of your caliber, but to our knowledge, you have said you have declared merely 2 million in more than 300 acres. comparing Kabianga Tea Farm and the neighboring school, Kabianga High School,
Clear that the candidate is known to me as a friend, and this will not affect the outcome of this exercise. I would like to ask you, Mr. Cheruiyot, I see you are well traveled across East Africa. What are the key infrastructure that will boost trade in your own knowledge? Infrastructure. Number two, how will you support our local businesses? You see, you have been hearing about the Mama Boga and the people who are really struggling in businesses, and they are within our county. How will you support them so that they can be able to boost the trade? Again, we have the small industries, the very small industries that have not been exploited, that do value addition and maybe do other businesses. How will you also bring in those small industries to capture it so that we can benefit as the people of Kericho County and boost trade? On tourism, we have in our area, we have Cheruiyot, Kipngeno, which you have mentioned. We have Ruskebe, which I know maybe you have not heard, but it's a very beautiful site, and others within the county. Now, for this to actualize, it doesn't really require funding, because most of the people are saying we need funds, we need this. Because for you to have tourism going on in Ruskebe, you just need to have people there visiting that site and enjoying, and possibly the county government getting some revenue there. How will you partner with private sector, or how will you encourage the private sector to also come in and work with the county government to boost tourism in our area?
Thank you.
And lastly, is you see, we have been talking about demolishing those infrastructures, or even these small people who are selling along the corridors. Now, in other areas, for example, in Nairobi, if you go to Nairobi over the weekend currently, around archives, around CBD, you will find booming businesses which have been approved to work. In other countries, you find that maybe businesses are done maybe in 2 hours within a specific area, let's say a park, and it is closed. Because we need to encourage also people to trade as well as maintaining the environment and the other things. How will you ensure that we don't hurt the businesses as well as doing trade?
Thank you very much, honorable members. Now, Mr. John Cheruiyot, kindly answer and strictly go direct to the questions, because I think we still have only around 20 minutes to go. So kindly utilize the time, the available time.
I'll start with the small traders as chair, as asked by Honorable Korir. And I'll give some examples of areas that have what I know. If you've been to Dar es Salaam Karioko market will always open on the open areas on the streets on Saturdays and Sunday. This is when small traders are allowed to run their business. In Kigali, they do that once in a month. Every month, they do that in the streets. There's no harm in also bringing it in Kericho. Looking at those times when there are few activities that are formal, to establish a day when we can have the small-scale traders perhaps on the street. So we will explore the possibility, put in the right policies, do the right policies and the procedures that will operationalize that. In terms of tourism, and Honorable Korir has asked about the community tourist area like Ruskebe. By the way, I know Ruskebe, and it's a nice place to visit. Setting up the site, what are the facilities that we need to put in place? How do we encourage private investors to establish facilities on that area? How do we bring in partners who can put in their money where the county is not able to, or where the land becomes an issue to work in there? So you'll see me. One person who is actually very much on hands-on, and I think the first few days that when we settled, we'll make sure that we put that in a map of our understanding. Go to Tulwap Kipsigis, what's lacking there, do the same. Establish facilities, perhaps a shed, perhaps something where people can sit, perhaps a small area, playground, or even where the refreshment can be served. We'll do that, we'll consider that if I'm approved for this position. And it's the same thing to what Honorable Cheruiyot had asked. On cottage industries, there are many people who are doing that, but they lack support because of lack of funds. We have the enterprise fund that we'll need to look at it and see how to operationalize better. But most importantly, consider exhibition, bringing in public and investors, so that these small-scale cottage industry players can showcase their and perhaps attract investment from the people who comes to check. And I think exhibition would be one of the things that we'll consider if I'm approved for this. To support Mama Mboga, as asked, I think it's something that I'd said before. What do they need? Enterprise fund. How do we operationalize it so that they can get access to funds? I'm told there is an act of it, but it has not been enacted to ensure that a board is established to manage the processes of managing the funds. And if I'm given a chance, I can actually come to the Committee on Trade, discuss that, and have it approved or supported by the whole House for it to be implemented. This, we can actually look at it and in a way that we can devolve it so that we can have that fund in every perhaps ward or in the constituencies or sub-counties, so that it, so I will ask this committee again, once it is established, how best can we recover what was already in the Chitegeme finance? How much can we recover? What kind of help in terms of political support to have it running? I didn't get about the key structures, Honorable Korir. You would ask about the key structures?
You think we need to have extra markets, for example, certain types of markets, or even when sanitation, the markets recently in Londiani, you saw in the media how they were complaining. I expected you to say maybe those are the structures that you want us to have for market.
Key drivers in bringing harmony among the traders and the people in the market players is to establish those facilities. First of all, ensure that there is a market, water, there is water in the market, that there is access roads, that there are social amenities such as sanitary structures, and of course, having a very clear communication to them. Because at the end of the day, when we go, what does the fee entails? What does the fee collected from these traders entail? So it entails provision of waste management, perhaps sanitation, clean sanitation, and clean water. So what we are, when they pay, they are paying for the services that we provide and that will make them happy to perform.
Thank you very much, members. I think you are satisfied with the answers from.
I think
there is one from Honorable Francis Terrer and Honorable Julius Siede. Kindly try to answer.
Yep. I think this one is about the operationalization of the stalls in the market. And again, I talked to the communication that are required to ensure it is understood clearly that these facilities are meant for good for the traders. How do we communicate? So we need to communicate. And I can tell you, we're not coming in the office, but our offices shall be on those areas except when we are working on the policies. And I guess that is also going to answer about the bottom-up. In so doing, it creates a bottom-up. Yeah.
Follow-up question.
Our stores
Function.
What are you going to tell our traders to carry out their businesses or activities in the stores? The problem is that they are not willing. Take, for example, in Kipngeno and several other urban centers. Stores have been put in place, but the traders are not willing to go to those stores. What are you going to tell them? What strategy are you going to use to make sure that these traders can comfortably go to the stores and carry out their businesses?
If I use that,
Thank you. Direct to the question.
If I use that question of Kipngeno, if you look at Kipngeno, there is no room for parking. Vehicles going in, park it, and people come out to do the business. So it is one of the things that we need to consider to ensure that Kipngeno can be accessed. Getting that because they rely on the people on the highway, and they can only park on the road and they do their business. But if we had as a parking area in Kipngeno, designated, well made, I guess that will be where the business will run. Yes, sir.
Are you aware that land is already in Kipngeno?
Yeah.
Are you intending to develop maybe the parking now with the land? And the Honorable MCA representing Kipngeno is here.
Yeah.
Senator Cheruiyot. He did all his best until this house allocated money for the purchase of that land. Fence it, and now it doesn't even operate. Even value for the money that we allocated, we are not seeing it because of one, people are still on the highway. Now, what Honorable Anthony Ruto is asking is the strategy you are going to employ to make sure that these people move successfully to the designated area for business and leave the highway.
In fact, Kipngeno can be a model because already there is land. And if we did the stalls there, a road into it and out of it, where people coming to the market can go in and out, park their cars and buy from the stalls there, I think it's going to be a very good model, which we can now transfer to other areas to implement. So the parking area is what we think is a challenge.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe another question on the same. Mr. Cheruiyot,
Yes.
are you telling us that our people will continue selling their, their goods along the roadside just because there is no parking area? You don't even consider the safety of our people. You heard there was an accident in Londiani that, you lost like 53 lives were lost. the money that we had fundraised for them. You can imagine those in line and the money that we had fundraised for them. Now, we are waiting for another calamity in Kapkelek to happen just because there is no parking. I mean, if these business people are taken into the stores inside there, they don't need a vehicle, for example. If you are selling clothes, for example, you just alight along the way, the vehicle proceeds, you take your wares inside those stores. Are you telling us that just because there is no parking, so they will remain selling their wares along the road?
Thank you,
Chairman, I thought you should, as I said initially, you are heading a very big department. You should give us, you are not a politician.
I'm not.
Yes, so being not a politician, that is why you should be assisting the governor, because you are the principal assistant to the governor in terms of trade, industrialization. You should be telling, you go there, you tell the people there is no selling of these products along the way. Ingia ndani na kiboko. Because you are not a politician. People, their safety come first. Their safety come first. A governor will not go there and tell them, please, force them to sell
Honorable Cheruiyot, but are you advising him on what to answer you?
Oh.
I think yes.
I think Honorable Cheruiyot, you are out of order. Let me give this opportunity to Honorable Whip, Majority Whip. He will answer. Then we'll answer the two questions, then we wind up.
Chairman, thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I got two questions, maybe to the nominee. And the first, let me just congratulate the nominee for the nomination. And Chairman, straight to the point, Chairman, can you listen to me, Chairman? I'm addressing these things directly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sorry.
So, Chairman, I only want to pose two questions to the nominee. Number one, on the issue of Kabianga Tifam, I only want to probably give an observation. And now, as the chairman of Kabianga Tifam, I want to commend him and just to inform him that the reason why he's there is because of the ad hoc committee that we undertook and passed before this house. Is when now the other board was removed according to our recommendation, and now you came in. Now, among the recommendation, Chairman, that we made was very clear.
You say you are informing the House?
Yes, I'm just informing the chair and also him, because you should know that the reason why he's there is because of the report that we made before this House. So the nominee, among the recommendations we did, was very clear, and that is one thing that I want to just inform him, is that, Chairman, when we passed here, it was resolved in the report that the board be disbanded. That was done, and you came in place. Number two, was very clear that this be taken to Mamulti factory. I want to thank you because you affected this thing probably some months ago. Now that you are facing systematically, and I want to commend that one, because that has been my prayer. Because, Chairman, remember, there has been a lot of wear and tear, and probably we are losing a lot of money. So therefore, my multi-factory is just near. We are going, I'm sure, and I'm very certain, Chairman, that we are going to get this year probably good amount compared to previous years. So that one I want to commend. Number two, Chairman, straight to the market issue. Just to inform the nominee, because again, I want to inform the nominee that already Kapkelek is a disaster if we don't solve the issues now. Because I don't want to sit as the MCA representative of people of Cheruiyot and watch a disaster coming. I've always been very clear on the issues of Kapkelek, Chairman. And I want to inform the member that already we have over 1 acre. 1 acre, already have fenced it. It is only waiting construction of the stalls and enforcing those who are selling their goods inside. Remember, Chairman, we did about some months ago. We enforced and made sure that all people were inside. But all of a sudden, again, they came back again. They are selling beside the road. So I'm requesting, probably this is going to be endorsed before this on the house. Like you've been told, I'm just requesting, because I don't want a disaster to come, so at least I'm taking an action there. So, Chairman, I'm requesting that let him enforce if you, in case you are going to be passed before these honorables, assist us, enforce, let them go inside, because the land is vast, over 1 acre, Chairman. So the issues of parking might not be existence here. So I'm requesting, Chairman, that please assist me, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Baron. Be reminded that this is still the nominee. He doesn't have any power at the moment, but I hope his comments has been heard. I want you to answer the questions that had been posed to you before I give to Honorable Gilbert Ngetich, whom I know is conflicted already, but I'll give him an opportunity maybe to say something. Kindly answer the 2 questions. Then I'll give it to Honorable Ngetich. Then finally, I'll give it to Honorable Gilbert Ngetich, and I'll not give him to give a question, but just a comment, then we close.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
We have only 2 minutes.
I want to respond to this issue of Kabianga in comparison to Kabianga High School. Kabianga High School has an area of about 30 acres, which is about 10% of area. Last year they did 94,000 kilograms. And if you look at it, when we talk about 20 million earning from Kabianga, it's not, look at the facts. I've been there and so spoke to the authorities there. They did 94. Now, where they made the money, and this is why we are now moving to Mamul, where they made the money is that from that 94, if you, 94,000, if you, 94,000 in that year.
No, they are talking of 94,000 kilos of tea from 30 acres.
Yeah, so what they did is that at that 94,000, and we know for certain, we cannot jump the cans now, but we'll achieve what is desired. And if you multiply that, say 30 times 10, so I think I've answered what also Honorable Shele had said. And there was the issue of the parking. And when I talk about the parking, I'm talking not about the people selling. I'm talking about the people who comes to buy. When they come around, they will park along the road. And that is why it is not, these people would like to bring them, the wares to them. So when we talk about looking for a parking is where we can allow, we can say no vehicle carrying any passenger shall stop on the road, but instead get in to upload inside the area.
Thank you. I think it is clear. Your strategic plans for Kabianga Tea Farm. When are we going to get this to declare 2 million this year?
We are looking at 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, because we are going with the pruning circles.
Thank you. Honorable Israel.
Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity, and congratulations on your appointment. Before I ask a question, this time I was lucky to be a member of another committee to look on the status of Kabianga Tea Farm. And there is a good recommendation which we did. We did a report as a chairman of Kabianga Tea Farm. I want you to, when you will be answering, to answer whether did you cut or have you discussed with the members of the Kabianga Tea Farm about that report and the recommendation? Because some of the recommendation which we did, because we did a lot of investigation, is because we wanted to see there is some of the recommendation is that instead of doing the indigenous tea we are doing, we had recommended establishment of a special factory to do special tea, and it was costing merely 100 million. So you will answer that. Number 2 is according to
I'd ask you, we stick only to one question.
Yeah, kindly. I wanted in conjunction to what you had asked. So my main question is, according to your nominee, what is the status, according to you, on the industrial directorate in our county? Because industrialization is part of the directorate in the docket you have been nominated. So I want you to enumerate or highlight the status of industrialization directorate in our county, and what is the assurance, and what is your plan towards the same if this committee found you to be suitable. Thank you. Chair.
Honorable Chair and
Yes,
members.
you can proceed.
Yeah, I think we had a chance to review and look at the progress of the implementation of the HATO committee recently. And when we looked at it, we prioritize depending on the implementation. The first thing that we need to do is to ensure that we are able to achieve the quality T, and then in the process also consider the establishment of the cottage industry, which I know it requires a lot of capital, and during this time we'll be looking at who can we work together in terms of establishment. So it is alive, and it is something that is being progressed. In terms of industrialization, we don't, the department has only two directorates. The Directorates of Trade, Industrialization and Innovation, and the Directorate of Wildlife. In terms of industrialization, I think it's still working with the national government, and the funds that come from the national government, like right now on the county integrated, aggregation integrated park, CAIP, is one area that we are working with the national government to establish aggregation center. But in going forward, there are small industries that we would want to encourage private investors to work on that, which we need to see how best we can support them. And I think we shall establish a policy in our department through the trade committee of this house. We can seek the approvals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our nominee. I think, Honorable Fancy, I'll give you a minute to pose. I don't know whether it's a question or a comment.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask a question, but since I'm seeing there's no time, just want to wish the nominee well, and maybe next time, Chair, we try to be gender responsive, because I came here as a trader, not even a...
Thank you. Maybe the traders...
And I said...
sorry. Fancy?
Yes.
Maybe this one now, the traders didn't have the opportunity today.
I represent the traders.
Allow me to give to Honorable
Thank you.
Gilbert Ngetich.
Okay, thank you, Chair, for the opportunity you've given unto me. Also to congratulate the CC2P, Honorable Cheruiyot, under my prayers. And him hailing from Gishara Ward, I really envisage a situation that will actually improve the Kipngeno tea farm. As actually it has been said, that he has actually laid down the many strategies to really make the farm smart. The additional fertilizer he has actually done will be seen in exactly 4 years in the maximum production. And Chairman, my prayer is that him to succeed. I know you will table issues, you will square 1, 2, 3, you've seen.
Thank you very much.
I see the Deputy Speaker smiling. I know he's endorsing my job.
Thank you, Honorable Gilbert Ngetich.
Thank you so much.
What we want to promise is that the committee will be very objective. Now, allow me to give this opportunity to the nominee.
Chair, question, Chair, if you allow me, Chair.
Maybe one last one then. One last one.
Yes, it's the last one, Chair, I promise. Thank you, nominee. I have one lasting question. In this town, we have one of the major markets that was co-funded by the World Bank and the county government of Kericho in the previous regime and this current regime. Market is already complete. I mean, it's almost completed. Traders have not occupied the market because there are wrangles there. The natives, those that want to occupy the market, are people from outside this constituency and this county. The natives are complaining. 54, 53 stalls were built, then open air spaces inside are there. Now, the natives are complaining. This is the only market that we have in our constituency. I come from an Inamoy constituency where this town is domiciled. We may not have another market just like Kenya, those other sub-counties. This is the only market that we have. What are you going to do to solve, because it is a time bomb. Because the people who wants to occupy the market are none, they come from outside our formation as a county. The money that was used to build this market is the money for the Kipsigis people of this county. So there is a war between the natives whose rights are being infringed and those that want to take over the market and they not hail from this county. What are you going to do, giving in mind that the market is domiciled in a constituency that does not have probably any other market? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Cheruiyot, but I want to rule this way, that...
I not need a feedback, Chair. Maybe...
attack away home.
Thank you, Chair. I think I would like to just state a takeaway question that we have a program which was started by the previous regime concerning the sweet potato plant, which is hailing from Kipngeno. Chair, I would like you to, as you go, whether you will be the CEC or not, take this one as an homework. What will you do for us to rescue the same sweet potato plant? Of course, we have a pineapple plant at the same time, which is in Kishara Ward. And those two projects, the taxpayer money was placed and it has not been utilized. It has stalled for a long time. So maybe, Cheruiyot, maybe this one you take home. You have to do an assignment, check on what we can do to ensure that these industries are working, because the traders are waiting to utilize the same plan. It has been constructed by the county government, and right now we are not utilizing it. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable B. Now I'll give you 2 minutes. Let your microphone be on.
2 minutes will be enough, because when I consider the question by Honorable Pate, I think it's something that needs to be looked at. If it is a challenge, it requires time and a detailed discussion on that. So we'll involve the trade committee and sit down and see what are these challenges. How do we benefit the people locally and without impinging on the rights of others also? So we'll look at that, because at the end of the day, we must make it satisfactory without creating an unintended consequence.
Thank you. You are closing remarks.
Honorable Chair and members, thank you for the opportunity that you've given me. Thank you for the time you've given me. Thank you also for the patience that you've accorded me in responding to the many questions that you've given me. It is, apart from it being questions, it is also an eye-opener in terms of what needs to be done. And we will engage you individually or through the trade committee going forward if I'm approved to this docket. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our nominee. As a committee, we want to also thank you for your time. We will only wish you the very best and promise that as a committee we will be very objective meeting to do the report, then we table before this house and you will get the feedback. Otherwise, we want to thank you and congratulate you for the nomination to this docket. Upon approval by this house, kindly undertake what you've committed yourself to undertake if this house approves you. Otherwise, we want to wish you well and kindly request that our sergeant at arms, before the nominee leaves the presence of the county assembly, make sure you give him lunch, tea, and the likes. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Now, there being no other business, we are adjourning this session briefly for only 3 minutes. We are doing only 5 minutes. Then we will usher in the other nominee. So kindly escort the nominee out. Then we do the housekeeping before the other nominee comes in.